Old saying, right? You know, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. Well, check this headline from Politico out. It asks why President Biden has not reached out to the former governor of New Jersey, Christie. Jonathan Martin writing in Politico that Christie's made it abundantly clear he will not support Trump. And last month at a conversation on Pod Save America, he even held open the possibility of voting for Biden while noting I'm not there yet. So why wouldn't Biden want to enlist one of the most talented public speakers in either party? Somebody ran for the GOP nomination in no small part to be a rhetorical battering ram against Trump. We are joined now by Tim Pawlenty, of course, the former governor of the state of Minnesota. It's more than Christie in this article. They go through a lot of other Republicans, but I thought you would be an interesting person to talk about this with. I know you're not, you come on here before. You're not a big fan of President Trump. What about the fact that President Biden hasn't reached out to sort of Republicans like you? Should he?
Well, in my case and in Chris's case, I don't know that President Biden reaching out to us is going to, bring anybody on board. I think Chris is and myself are concerned about another Trump presidency, but that doesn't mean we would vote for Biden. I voted for Trump in the past. I'm not sure what I'm going to do this time, and I think Chris feels the same way.
Would you be open? You're not open at all to voting for Biden. In other words, you're not for Trump and you're not for Biden. You're not sure. How are you thinking about it?
I just think President Biden, candidly, is sort of way too feeble for the job. And I think his policies, for me anyhow, are too left. And I think we need somebody who is more to the center or more conservative. And I just think his feebleness combined with his sort of wokeness is not the right package for
because
me.
We've been talking about these so-called, sorry to interrupt, Governor, we've been talking about these so-called Nikki Haley voters, right, that are out there that voted for Haley, and what are they going to do? And it's interesting that this article's out today because the Biden campaign is out with a new ad that is obviously aimed at those voters. So I just want to play a clip from that, and then we can talk about whether or not that's a good strategy. Here it is.
I call her Bert Brain. Nikki Haley has made an unholy alliance with rhinos, never Trumpers, Americans for no prosperity. She was sitting there like...
She's gone crazy. She's a very angry person.
She is not presidential timber. I don't need votes. We have all the votes we need.
She's gone haywire.
There aren't that many never Trumpers anymore.
How do you bring these Nikki Haley voters back into the tent?
I'm not sure we need too many.
That's interesting at the end, right? You see the strategy. I'm not sure we need too many, but is the quote they use from Trump at the end. But what do you make of that strategy?
I think it's ill-advised. I think if you look at where these elections are decided, a handful of states and those swing voters, a lot of them disproportionately in second and third ring suburbs, a lot of them women, to kind of brush off Nikki Haley and her supporters in that regard, I think is really lacking in wisdom. I also think, many people are looking. Chris Christie's comments, my comments kind of reflect this. There's sort of a political no man's land, no person's land. Mm-hmm. You have, a feeble president that many of us believe is too far left, and you have President Trump, who's sort of nutty and bizarre. Where do you go if you're one of us? And there isn't really a good answer to that. So people are a little stuck at the moment. I'm really curious. It's fascinating politically, but, for the country, it's concerning, obviously, because a lot of people, not just politicos, like you and others that have worked professionally in the business, other people are struggling with this. The polls show it. Put up the list of Republicans, independents not supporting Trump that was in this Political article. So Christie, former President Bush, Pence and Paul Ryan, Larry Hogan, and then we have a bunch of senators on the list, Susan Collins, Mitt Romney, Todd Young, Cassidy and Murkowski that the reporter reached out to, and they say Biden hasn't reached out to them. But your point's the bigger one, is maybe it wouldn't have mattered because some of these people wouldn't support Biden. So you say you're stuck. I mean, you're going to vote, right? You're a former governor. Yes.
You've run for president. You're going to vote. What are you going to do?
Yes. I don't know yet, but I will say one other thing that's taking place is there's been some political jujitsu underneath what most people understand, and that is President Trump, with all of his other problems, has attracted a mass number of working class folks. The Republican Party has become the working class party for a lot of people. And the Democrats have basically been left with sort of the folks who are, more dependent on government or the elite, people who are highly educated elites. And so while it's true that President Trump has lost support with people like me or Chris Christie, although, again, I did vote for him in the past, not sure what I'm going to do this time, he's also brought a whole bunch of new people to the party. And look, but as one other example, he's also, in proportionate terms, attracting more minority votes, people of diverse backgrounds, than previous Republican candidates. It doesn't seem like that would be the case, but it is. I'm not saying he's going to win those groups, but in relative terms, he's attracting, for example, higher levels of Hispanic and Latino voters
Right.
in the past. There's more going on here than just what originally meets the eye.
But the reason you wouldn't be comfortable supporting him is all based on personal reasons, how the election was handled January 6th and all of that, or is it also the issues?
I don't necessarily mind many or most of his issue positions. I just think as a leader, he's sort of a very bizarre person.
He's a bizarre person. That's the way you would put it. I mean, and you didn't support him last time around. I almost froze there. I've heard a lot of descriptions in the past, but just a bizarre person. But you didn't support him last time around as well.
I voted for him before. I
you
voted
did?
for him before. In
2020 you did? I thought you did in 2020.
I did.
Thanks so much for watching. Just go to joinnn.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.